I wasn't born this way. No kid dreams of growing up and saying, I want to be a womanizer. The truth is, I used to be super shy, like the kind of student who just dreamed from afar, wrote letters he'd never give, and was happy just seeing her smile, even if it was with someone else. I also dreamed of loving just one person, the kind of love that lasts forever, the kind you'd cherish, protect, and stay with until you're old and gray. That was the plan, that was the dream. But as they say, not all plans work out, especially when your heart is involved. Sometimes, fate can be brutal. It all started with my first heartbreak. I gave everything. My time, my effort, maybe even my soul. I thought we were it. But one day it was like waking up to a harsh slap in the face. She had someone else. And then it happened again. Another one came along and I thought she was the one who would replace the first. But it was even worse. I was just used. A dumping ground for problems, a shoulder to cry on, a bill payer. My once whole heart slowly shattered, becoming like a cheap glass that kept falling and breaking. My trust in the idea of forever turned to ashes. That's when the change began. From being faithful, I learned to be elusive. From being serious, I learned to play games with everything. Every woman I met became just a game, a challenge. How quickly could I get her to say yes? And once I got what I wanted, goodbye. This became my way of protecting myself. I told myself, I won't get hurt again. If others got hurt in the process, that was their problem. What mattered was that my heart was safe from the pain that love brings. The loving man I once was became a collector of hearts. Not because I'm a bad person, but because it was the only way I knew how to avoid experiencing that pain again. Being a womanizer became my armor, a thick wall I built around my heart so no one could get in. This became my story, the story of a man who was hurt, who learned to hurt others just so he wouldn't always be the one getting hurt. The chronicle of a womanizer doesn't start with lust, but often with a deep wound. Players always get blamed. They say we're the villains, cheaters, heartless. It's easy for people to judge when they don't know the whole story. It's like in movies, there's always a bad guy, but we rarely ask why he became that way. Maybe he was once a hero who just got hurt too much. Being a player wasn't a choice I made one morning when I woke up. It was a result of repeated failures, broken promises, and shattered trust. It's like an illness you caught because of someone else's carelessness. You didn't want it, but it's there. Every woman I hurt was an attempt to get back at the women who hurt me before. It's like a domino effect. I was pushed, so I pushed the next one. I know it's wrong, but in the mind of a wounded person, revenge feels like a kind of justice. My brain came up with a simple formula. Hurt them before they hurt you, get ahead of them. This way you're always in control, you're always on top. You don't have to feel like a loser or pathetic anymore. This became my defense. Society is quick to label, player, and that's the end of the conversation. But the truth is, it's a complicated issue. Often a player is someone with deep trust issues. Someone who's afraid to love completely because they're scared of being left again. Every act of cheating is a cry for help. A way of saying, look what you did to me. I'm not saying what I did was right. I'm just saying there's a reason behind it. A reason that often isn't seen by the world's judgmental eyes. So the next time you hear a story about a player, try to think that maybe there's a story behind the stories. Maybe that person isn't just a simple cheater. Maybe they're also a victim who learned to be a villain just to survive in a world full of pain. The defense of a player isn't to make wrong things right. It's to make you understand that every monster has an origin. And often, that origin is a broken heart and a shattered self. They say, there are plenty of fish in the sea. So I did just that. I dove in. I searched. But not for the one. I used this idea to learn. Every woman I met became a research subject. I studied their habits, their likes and dislikes, their green flags and red flags. It became like a social experiment. Polygamy, or having many relationships at the same time, became my way to compare and contrast. Who was more loyal? Who was easier to lie to? This became my university of love. But in the process, I discovered a big problem. The third party. No matter how good you are at hiding, someone will always get hurt. Someone will always cry. And as I watched the pain I was causing others, I slowly saw my own reflection in them. I saw myself when I was in their position, crying, asking why, feeling like I wasn't enough. That's when I realized that what I was doing wasn't just learning. It was continuing a cycle of pain that I myself wanted to escape. With all the fish I met, I learned to look beyond just outward appearance. I learned to look for green flags, those little things that say, this person is okay. Someone who knows how to listen. who respects your time, who doesn't treat you as just an option. Before, I chased excitement. Now I realized that what I was really looking for was peace. The sea is full of fish, but not all of them are for you. Some are sharks ready to devour you, and others are fish that you become the shark to in their lives. My experiment taught me an important lesson. Finding the right person isn't like shopping at the market where you have to taste everything. It's about being ready yourself, and while I was hurting others, I wasn't getting ready either. Because my heart, full of anger and fear, couldn't accept true love. My study of others turned into a study of myself, and what I found was that I didn't like the person I saw in the mirror. The day came when I was just tired of playing games, of pretending, and of running. I looked in the mirror and asked myself, are you truly happy? The answer was a resounding no. Being a player didn't bring happiness, it only brought temporary pleasure and a long list of people I hurt, including myself. That's when the real moving on began. It wasn't about finding a new person, it was about fixing myself. I used my brain to understand my mistakes and my heart to forgive myself. The first step was acceptance. I accepted that I was hurt, and I accepted that I hurt others. No excuses, no blame. Then I started to rebuild myself. I focused on my hobbies, my work, and my friends. I learned to be happy on my own. That was the most important lesson, that I don't need another person to complete me. Self-love became the foundation of my recovery. I put myself first, not in a selfish way, but in a healing way. My heart and mind, which used to be at war, learned to work together. My mind told me I needed to change, and my heart gave me the strength to do it. Forgiving those who hurt me became the key, not for them, but for me. I released the anger I had held onto for so long, and by releasing it, I felt lighter. I became ready to open the door to my heart again, but this time, more carefully. There's a bouncer now, and the password is self-respect. Now, I'm writing the last page of my Player Chronicles. It's no longer about hurting and revenge, it's about hope and a new beginning. I'm ready for a better and healthier relationship. First with myself and then with the person who is right for me. The journey has been difficult and painful, but it taught me to love more wisely and more completely. The former player has learned to love, and the first person he loved was himself. And that for me is the sweetest victory of all.